The story of little Tibor. So they brought him to our place, and this is how he looked when he just arrived. I broke my leg, so I couldn't walk myself, and Duco, Mr. Duco, our German Shepherd, stepped in something, and it's no training, it just happened. They sort of developed a mouth game. Tibor couldn't eat hay, he was very weak, and he learned here how to eat hay. He was very, very weak, he couldn't walk. What a splendid dog, and it was almost impossible that a dog and a horse can be friends. Here you can see his hooves, it was terrible. Step by step, the little Tibor, his world became a little bit bigger, and Duco was always there. This guy was slowly growing, and they played, and then I put them together with the mare, and she was very happy with him. But in June, Juicioso came, a PRE young stallion of 3 years old who introduced himself in a very special way. The little Tibor wanted to help his mare, but it had no use because the mare was in season and then they are not reasonable. So the view changed and the stables were ready. Little Tibor walked around, and he really slept a lot, and he needed to sleep until he was, of course, disturbed by more friends. Then winter came, and the horses were outside when it was possible, and little Tibor started to play with one of the boys, Juicioso. They introduced me to play with sticks, with wood, and Mr. Duco was, of course, watching every step which was made. Duco and Tibor really played together. The boy grew, and in springtime, little Tibor seemed to become a horse. He was a real horse. Then it was time to decide what to do with the young boys. I mean, the sight was beautiful, but they had to be ridden. So there he was, Bandido. He was a strong guy. He was castrated just 3 weeks before he came with me. And Tibor, he was very interested in Bandido. He was very taking care of him. I first didn't let them together, but then when I let them together, Tibor and Bandido right away started to play. It seemed a little bit rough, but it really, really was play, and it was beautiful to see. Bandido saved his little friend. He was careful. They were biting like boys do, and Tibor was really jumping him and having a lot of fun. And Bandido was careful, and they made breaks in the games. But Tibor didn't want to stop. He just always wanted to play and play. Then he showed his friend how they eat. Well, come on, my friend, we eat like this. And he introduced Bandido to the hay. And of course, there was also playing, there were mouth gaming. And I was wondering why the hair of Tibor didn't grow well. Well, this is the answer. Tibor really admired his big friend. He really, really admired him. And they were eating together, but the little Bandido also had games. That is not a good way to eat your hay. So I decided to let them in the field, and first I started in a small field, and Tibor defended his mare with all his possibilities, and he succeeded. Then I let them in the big field, and Tibor was doing it again, defending his mare to he was his friend. But as soon as Bandido watched him, he was submissive, he was a little bit afraid. But, well, Tibor succeeded but also was submissive. But Bandido showed by his behavior that he didn't have any bad intentions at all. So it didn't take long before they were real friends. Still, of course, Tibor protected his mare. All summer they went together outside in the rain and whatever season it was. Little Tibor grew. He became a horse, and I didn't recognize him from the beginning. His eyes were open, and they shared everything: the water, the food, and real friends do share. They don't fight over food. It was beautiful to see them go up and down in the field, and it was also beautiful to be part of the way they show their friendship to each other. The real deep friendship. Bandido was a real high social horse. He was what I call a fighter. And fighters want friendship with others. Like the little Mrs. Pebbles also wanted a friendship with Tibor, but Tibor became more and more sexual interested, and that was sometimes pretty irritating. Every morning I watched this sight, and it was a beautiful sight to see them eat together and be together. Of course, Bandido said it was his mare, but little Tibor didn't agree, and when he smelled it, he said, "No, she is my mare," and they show it by urinating over the mare's urine. I saw the melanomes grow, but well, I didn't want it. This is Tibor in the stable. He had this strange habit. He does it in every box, so he makes a real mess of the box. Always. Then winter came, and it was snow. It was very exciting for the horses. Tibor wanted to eat and did some research on the snow. Well, this is the result. But Tibor also liked excitement, and he liked to play. So if he noticed that his friend Bandido was there, well, Tibor would hurry, and especially when his friend is upside down, it's time to play. It was the first time for Bandido that he saw snow, and they played and played and played. It was nice to be a witness of these beautiful games. But something else happened. The queen mare, Genovesa, became sick. She couldn't walk anymore. She had laminitis. It was the first time that Tibor saw illness. Bandido was pretty clear. He wanted to move her, but he couldn't move her anymore. So it didn't take long before we had to say goodbye of the queen mare. Tibor tried to move her, and I was also very sad. Tibor shouted for her. He really shouted out as loud as I never heard that voice again. And I also became ill. We all missed her. Still, horses show you that they go on, no matter if you're sad or whatever. And these two boys were only together at that moment. There was nobody else but them. So Tibor started to play again, and they played and played. And it was amazing how their friendship developed pretty strong. And Bandido really, well, he was bitten. He was pushed by Tibor, but they were friends. And friends care for each other. So they sort of survived. And they just showed me that no matter what happens, always go on, and your friendship will win. And all this play was pretty good for the muscles of the horses. Bandido really had a big ass, as you can see. We practiced too. And I also started to practice with Tibor, because I thought it's good for him to do special exercises. I always practice in a horse tied, but also with a free horse. Well, he did pretty well, I think. And he liked it. In February, Kabul came. Bandido didn't like it at all, because he wanted to protect his little friend. But Tibor was very interested in this new horse. He was a stallion. Bandido protected his little friend, and Bandido was not stronger than Kabul was, because Kabul was really forceful. But he had the power to protect his friend, and that impressed Kabul a lot. So it was playing with fire, but it succeeded. And here you can see the insecurity of Kabul. Still, it was pretty playing with fire. They were examining each other's forces. When I let them in the field, Bandido was watching his friend. He was guarding, and he really stood up against this big Kabul. Here you can see a picture looking them straight in the eyes. Bandido was always there, and he just was there to protect his little friend, because friendship is very strong with horses. And if you didn't watch, of course, Kabul wanted to play his own games with little Tibor. But there was Bandido again. But Kabul actually just wanted one thing. Bandido was there, just caring, just always there to be his friend. Tibor was young and all he wanted was to play, but the big Kabul wanted very different things. He just wanted to have sex with his pony. So he told me that this small pony, they don't see it anymore as a horse. They see it as a sexual thing. Even though Tibor did his best to learn Kabul how to play. But his friend, his big friend Bandido, stood up for him. And this, to me, is a very beautiful picture. It shows no fight, but prevent it. Again, he showed me that life continues, and our exercises developed more and more, with and without a head collar, no bit. He's a very nice guy. And he did his own exercises. He became stronger, and very strong. And here he shows you how he exercises himself every morning. And I let him out. That's pretty serious, isn't it? Tibor is also into friends. He still is into friendship. But we exercise just a little bit more serious. Do some lunging and, well, even though he's 80 centimeters, he still is a horse. And we have fun together. I'm working on a stable halter, so there's no real force. And we did more and more and more. And I wanted to learn him how to jump in the air. When you're small, it all goes fast. Still, it's the same exercise, so I'll show it in slow motion what happens. On a stable halter, so there's no bridle, there's no bit, it's only us. So we're preparing another exercise too. Look at that. You want to see it in slow motion? That's nice, isn't it? We do another exercise. This is an exercise of high school. Even though he's 80 centimeters, he does it. And he does it because he thinks it's funny. Another time in slow motion, just to show you that it's real exercising. He smuggles a little bit, he's walking. But I'm very happy with him. And this is something he really decided for himself. It's actually rolling, but I like it, so I feed him. I have to be very fast with my food. I feed him and I appreciate him because to me he's a very, very, very big hero. And Tibor has another job. You might not have noticed on the movie, but he really has a very serious job. Like this horse. I couldn't come in the box without making this horse afraid. Tibor can. What I took for 3 months, Tibor does in 2 minutes. Sometimes you have to push the other ones a little bit, but give the other one confidence. So that's why I think Tibor is a hero. And I'm very happy to have this horse at our place.